Well, with 62% of Africa's population younger than 25, it is a continent with tremendous potential. And it's with the youth of Uganda. Some of the fellows Austin has introduced us to are doing some of their absolute best work.
One place where both population issues and agricultural challenges are converging is in the schools, like this one we visited outside Kampala. It is here that you can see both how devastating population growth has been on this country, and yet how much potential there is in that population. That is 1,000 students for a handful of classrooms.
So this is our class for primary 5.
These kids are sharp and motivated to have a better life, but they are sitting 160 deep in a single classroom.
Thank you. When they do this,
Add that to a history in Uganda of agriculture being used as punishment in school. Get caught talking in class? Go dig a furrow. Act out during a lesson? Spend the afternoon weeding the garden.
As a professional educator, in the context of agriculture, I really take great exception or umbrage to that. And I've been very plain with the fellows about that, and I think most of them realize that fundamentally that is a mistake. That if the young people identify agriculture solely with punishment and drudgery, it's going to be very difficult to attract them to agricultural careers.
But there is an effort to change that culture. At this school, agriculture is now taught as a science, and the school garden, managed within the curriculum, helps supplement the meals. But with so many children, the garden simply cannot produce enough.
the idea behind is to give an opportunity to these kids to understand the agronomic practices as per the different crops.
But how do you get messages out to those actively involved in agriculture? Television and internet are available to few outside the cities. Radio is where 80% of Ugandans get their news. But the format and the journalists there are ill-equipped for the detailed messages ag producers need. Fortunately, this country that lacks so much in terms of infrastructure got one part of it wonderfully right.
What you'll find in the developing world, in Kenya and Uganda in particular, that I've experienced, and in Mali to some degree, they've skipped the landline, the telephone line. They've skipped it,
And even people that live in traditional African huts, their family has a cell phone, and there's coverage. I haven't ever found a place in Uganda so far that my cell phone doesn't work.
And those cell phones are how one fellow, Daniel Nsima, is trying to bridge the gap between producers and sellers and to shift the power structure of Ugandan agriculture away from the traders in the middle. On our final day, Daniel took KOSU's Rachel Hubbard, photojournalist Mitch Akala, and myself to an urban market and introduced us to a man who buys and sells potatoes.
Omuntu oyambisa ba bloka abasobola okuva ku balimi n'asobola okutukolezera mu katale kati kuno tusobola kuba bloka kuteeka mu.
So he says they use brokers. The brokers who go to the villages to look for the potatoes. So they load them onto the trucks and bring them to Kampala. So he buys from the brokers. The price that the brokers actually give them is quite higher compared to the price that they buy at from the farmers.
And that is where the cell phone technology comes in. Daniel offers negotiating power to both ends of the chain.
First of all, we started using SMS, short text messaging, where we collect information from the different markets in Kampala and then share that with our farmers in the field. Then also get the prices of the different products in the market and share that with our traders in Kampala. Because the project was about bringing the traders in Kampala, the potato traders in Kampala, with the potato farmers in Kabala and Kisoro, to come to an agreement and be able to like establish a formal price, come into agreement and sell the products like on a contractual sort of basis. So every morning I call him or he calls me to update me with the information on the different prices of the different products in this market. So then I upload that, then I share that with the different farmers and the different traders that we have in our database.
Daniel hopes this market information can help widen profit margins for farmers like Nabawanga Gustine.
Mpoza mpitirivu nosobola okuseera nawo okulaba naye ate n'olemesebwa nabo ne abantu oluusi ne biremera nawo lwa mpozi.
Okay. So she says the cost of transporting our products from PG up to this market is high because the drivers keep telling them that gas is expensive. So that makes transport very expensive for them. And the other thing is that the tax, because they tax them to have a stall in this market. So before they enter this market, they have to pay a certain fee, and she says that is very high. So it makes her products very expensive, and it makes, it kind of reduces her sales and her profit margins.
The market is hard to describe. I'm not even sure I'm able to convey just how busy and tightly packed the area truly is. As fresh and appetizing as so much of this harvest is, inches away, the path you walk on is the rotting leftovers from the markets of the past days and weeks.
So, Austin, certainly in a country where there's no refrigeration, their fresh markets are a little bit different than what we're used to say the least.
Yes.
But you know what I was really struck by in that story is the conversations that you were having there. They're the exact same conversation I know you and I both have had out in a farmer's field right here in Oklahoma.
That was one of the things that surprised me the most during our visit. Every time we met with a farmer, every time we met with someone who worked with ag, they really did feel like I was talking with their counterparts here. The same issues, the same savvy about what they needed to do exist. But as you touched on, one of the big issues is storage and refrigeration. Milk that's not sold is poured out. Fruits and vegetables that weren't sold in that market are thrown down, and that's what we were walking on was the day before's wares that weren't sold.
So truly they are subject to supply and demand. If the demand is right now and they have the supply, but there's very little storage?
Well, yes, there is very little storage. There's very little trust in the electricity system. It really went out on us 4 or 5 times a day wherever we're at. This is one of the big issues with food security in the country. In the southwest part of the country, there is a ton of food. There's a ton of production. In the northeast part of the country, it's very dry and arid and they need the food. But getting it there, getting the storage, being able to keep it, doing something with it beyond the improved products, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Certainly something very different than what we're used to here. Now I know you also got to meet a tribe of pygmies that have been evicted from their homeland and now they're trying to figure out how to survive in this new world that they've been presented with. If you would, set the stage for us.
Certainly. About halfway through the trip, we drove down to the southwest corner of the country. Ended up about 10 miles from Rwanda at this point. Before we got to the pygmies, we drove to a place for lunch. Now, before we get to that place, there's tribes of folks, families sitting on the sides of a mountain with little hammers, grandparents, baby children, hitting rocks with hammers to make gravel to sell to construction companies. Just beyond that, we get to this resort owned by a wonderful Belgian gentleman. And this is a nicer resort, as you can imagine. This is the place where if you're really rich, you're going to go take your honeymoon. Amazing place. So then we drive up the mountain in the rain, through quite an adventure, end up actually meeting this small tribe of pygmies who were some of the most animated people we met on our trip.
In the southwestern tip of the country, only miles from Rwanda, we were introduced to the Batwa Pygmies. Historically, this was a tribe of the forest who collected honey for trade. But in 1991, they were evicted as their forest became a national park for gorilla conservation. The transition into civilization has not been easy, and fellow Daniel Nsima has been working to improve their opportunities.
Well, the pygmies actually are traditionally honey gatherers. The tradition from the forest. So when they vanished from the forest, they had to devise means of living, and they started making the traditional beehives. But then the traditional beehives have a problem that when it rains, they kind of get wet and the bees cannot colonize them. So trying to introduce modern beehives that have a roof on them to stop the rain from getting inside, so they can at least get more honey and get more money out of it.
In addition to improving their own honey gathering operation, the pygmies hope to manufacture these modern beehives for sale outside the community. Daniel has also introduced the concept of savings to this community, which traditionally has spent money as soon as it's been earned. In just a short time, they've already saved 45,000 shillings. Now that's only about $20 here in the States, but to this group, that's a massive achievement.